guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my January TBR. It's my first TBR of 2023, and I have, of course, overly ambitious plans. I do have a read-along that I'm doing with one of my best friends on YouTube. I have a couple book club books, and then I have a lot of things and plans. I'm definitely in a fantasy romance mood, so I have at least one on here. I forgot to grab the other one that I was thinking of reading, but now I don't know where it is on my shelves. Anyways, I am just very excited. I also really want to focus on reading authors I'm excited for. I do have a couple of videos planned where I'm reading BookTube's favorite books of 2022 and my subscribers' favorite books of 2022. I've already picked out the TBR for one of those. I'm going to mention a couple, but I'm going to keep most of those TBRs a secret until they come out, so keep an eye out for those. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first book is for my Patreon book club, the Fallen Book Club. I'm very excited. The first author guest I'm having is Catherine Cowles, and we are both reading The Obsession by Nora Roberts. Catherine loves Nora Roberts, and I want to like Nora Roberts. So I love romantic suspense, and I've started to really love that genre this year, especially since I've been loving Catherine's books. And so Catherine said this is one of her favorites. It's one I have put it on a couple of my TBRs, but I'm glad I put it off because we're gonna read it for our book club. It's gonna be a mid-January. I have not announced yet, but if you're in my Patreon, I'll definitely announce that soon. If you're interested in joining, my link is down below. I have an author guest each month, and we read a book together and we chat about it in a live show. Cannot wait for this month. This one, all I know is that it is romantic suspense. She's on the run, and it says someone won't let her go. It does say her family was torn apart by a shocking crime that destroyed her, and she's decided to put down some roots, but her past is catching up with her. It sounds so good. I'm very excited for this one. Then for Historical Hellions, we do always have a 3 months in advance pick out. So we are reading Reckless by Amanda Quick in January. I believe we are going to be picking our April, May, and June picks soon. We have January, February, March done. But this one I'm so excited for because I love Amanda Quick. Ravished is one of my absolute favorite historical romances of all time. And I read another one by her. I don't remember which one it was called. I think it was Desire. I did not like it. So I'm wary to picking up a book by her because I want to pick one I'm going to love, like Ravished, or unless Ravished was a fluke and I just don't love her books. I don't know, but this one, we always have insanely gorgeous setbacks from Pinot in her books. It's so pretty. This one I know has a lot of action and adventure in it. She needs something, and so she wants like this guy to help her, and she can't help but fear she made a mistake by choosing this guy to help her. I don't know, like she thought he was gonna be her knight in shining armor, but he's not, and they go on a quest together. Things happen. There's a lot that always happens in Amanda Quick's books. They're pretty adventurous, so I'm very excited to read this with Historical Hellions. We have not picked a date for the live show. It'll be at the end of the month. Check out our Instagram if you're interested in joining. Lacey and I have not yet picked our Ravished by Romance book. We always wait till the end of the month to do that. I'm filming this a little early, so keep an eye out on our Instagram for that announcement. It's coming soon. Then I do have 3 historicals I really want to read because first off, I feel like I didn't read a lot of old school historicals in 2022, only the ones for my book club, which is dedicated to reading old school historicals. I have been dying to read this book. It's Prisoner of Desire by Joanna Lindsey. I really wanted to read it over break. I just did not get to it because I'm starting a different reading vlog right now, and this I can't read for that. But this one, of course, we have iconic step back. So in this one, they end up like kidnapping each other at various points in the book. She kidnaps him because she wants to have an heir, and she doesn't want to, it says that her stepbrother is going to like take all her money, so she decides to kidnap the hero to have an heir, and then he's so angry about being kidnapped by her, and I think like used by her to have an heir, and so then he kidnaps her. And I've had conversations with a few historical romance authors who love this book, so I'm very excited to read it. This is one I definitely want to get to this month. I want to be good about getting to at least one more old school historical. I also have 2 arcs I really want to get to. They are these 2. This one actually comes out I think at the end of January 24th, so I'm hoping to read this in the very beginning of January because I'm dying for it. It's Nellie's story. This one is The Duke Gets Even by Joanna Shoup, and in this one the Duke needs to marry well, and Nellie does not want to get married whatsoever. She is into like all things pleasure and things ladies should not be into in society, and he has to marry the perfect bride to save his estate, but obviously they're gonna fall for each other. And I love it when the hero has to marry someone for like their title and falls for someone with not the best reputation. So It's gonna be really good. And then I do have Lorraine Heath's new book, which comes out in February, and this one is The Counterfeit Scoundrel. This one is actually the first book in a new series. I just read the synopsis of this. Oh yes, so I was talking about it in my most anticipated romance releases of 2023. This one says she is a investigator and she's hired by a household to figure out if the wife is cheating, and so she gets a job in the house of the woman's lover to see if he's the one that she's cheating with, and that's our hero, who actually is someone who was raised in an abusive household. So he saw his mother's abusive relationship, and now he helps wives escape marriages that are abusive. He's actually accused of murdering the husband of someone, and so now he has to have her help him like clear his name. So it sounds like a lot of fun. I'm very excited. Lorraine Heath has the best plots, so this one sounds so good. Then I am definitely catching up on stuff I did not get to last month. Intersect by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is book 2 to Parallel. If you guys have been watching my channel whatsoever, you know how obsessed I was with Parallel last year, and it ended on a cliffhanger and I never finished the series. So these are really short too. This one is just 300 pages. So I need to read it and finish up this couple's story and then read the next two, because Elizabeth O'Rourke did say the next 2 books are her favorite in the series. So I have to get to them. It's time traveling soulmates kind of situation. Obsessed, and I need to read this book. I also have an audiobook of Pippa and the Prince of Secrets by Grace Calloway. This one is a historical romance. I've put on so many TBRs in 2022 and I just need to get to it. So I did download the audio. I loved the first book, and so they're kind of like Charlie's Angels, the women are, and in this one she is a widow and she vows to never fall in love again, and he has become a powerful leader of a gang of scavengers dealing in goods and information. So I love when they have like action like that. It reminds me of the Elizabeth Hoyt series, which I really love, and they're brought together by a deadly mystery, and I think that he's loved her from afar since he was a lad, since he was young. I love that kind of romance. Definitely excited to read this one. I think I also am getting the audio of Ashford Parker Doesn't Fail. I put this on my TBR last month. I didn't get to it, but I really love Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and I'm very interested in Ashford's character because that was Delilah, I believe, her stepsister, and they're renovating a house together for an HD TV show. So she, I think, is the designer and the other heroine is like the carpenter. So it's gonna be good. I'm excited to finally get to this one. I also have a few I know that I got for Christmas. So I have Wildcat by Rebecca Genshak. This I got for Christmas from Connie. So thank you so much for sending this to me. I am really excited to read more hockey romances. So this says, oh, she was his bartender and the worst bartender he's ever had. She ends up being the coach's youngest daughter. So I love a good coach's daughter romance. It sounds really good. I'm excited to read more from Rebecca Genshak because I read her Christmas novellas and I really enjoyed them. So I wanted to read some of her normal romances. I did start this book a couple months ago and it was right before I was traveling, and then I just never got around to finishing it. So I really want to get to Evermind by Laura Pavlov. This is book 2 in the Honey Mountain series. I think there's 5 books now and I have all of them. So I really want to read them. They're small town. I believe that he is a hockey player and she's hired to help him. I don't remember what she does. I think she does some sort of like physical therapy, and so it is their second chance romance. So I definitely need to reread the beginning of what I read. I only read like 40 pages and then I ended up having to stop, but I want to pick this back up because I want to read more Laura Pavlov this year as well. And then I am going to be reading book 2 in the series this week for a reading vlog, but Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I want to read this entire series because like everyone else, I fell in love with her Heartless series. I don't know what the series is called, but like Heartless and Flawless. Oh, I guess Flawless was first, right? I don't remember the order. Powerless does come out soon. Until then, I'm really excited to read her Gold Rush Ranch series, starting with Off to the Races. They all sound so good. He is her new boss, and it starts off saying he can't decide if he hates me or wants me. So she's actually a trainer at the ranch. I love a ranch romance, so I'm very excited to read this. Okay, so for a video I am doing, I definitely want to read Mile High by Liz Tomford. This I know Caitlin from the Love Librarian is obsessed with, and Christy from Christy Reads a Lot sent this to me for Christmas. So thank you, Christy. This one I believe is a flight attendant hockey player romance. I really wanted to read this when I was traveling to Georgia, and I was going to read this or Consider Me by Becca Mack. So I asked my patrons to choose which one they wanted me to read, and Consider Me won. I'm dying to read this though. Like, I really wanted to read both of them. Unfortunately, Consider Me was like a huge miss for me. So hopefully this one is not. It's pretty chunky, but I'm very, very excited to get to it. Tori from Novel Life and I are doing a read along for the Runaway series by Debbie Perry. I think it's just called the Runaway series. I don't remember when it goes into February. We are starting in January and finishing in February. I do have all 5 books here, so I know for sure I'll be getting to the first 2 and at least the first 3, if not 4. I think these all follow friends who ran away together and lived in a junkyard together, and I think it follows the car from the junkyard that they all drive. So I'm very excited. They're very short. We are reading a book a week, but I'm not too sad about that because they're like 250 pages and the font is huge. So it's gonna not take me a long time at all to read these. Typically when we do a book a week read-alongs, I end up having to listen to a lot in audio, but I think I'll be fine with this one. I think I'll be able to get through them. I'm excited to read another series with Tori. We do have our live shows. For books 1 and 2, our live show is going to be on January 11th, and then books 3, 4, and 5 are going to be on February 1st. So we are reading all 5 of them in the month, and I'm excited. I can't wait to read this whole series. I love read-alongs because they force me to actually get through a series and not be annoying and not get through them. Then I have Burn For Me by Sarah Kate. This one I really want to read because it is an older woman, younger man. He hates her because she was the journalist that like exposed her father and ruined his life, and he ends up being in her journalism class in college. So talk about animosity and forbiddenness. I'm very excited for this one. I did end up reading the first book in the Royals of Kingwood Academy series. It was called The Lost Elemental. It was a Why Choose Paranormal romance. I'm very intrigued by it. The heroine never thought she had any elemental powers, but when you graduate high school, they have this whole ceremony where they test everybody to see if they have powers, and if they do, they go to the academy to learn how to control their powers and the specific one they have based on the elements, and no one in a very long time has had all 4. Well, we can probably guess the heroine is probably going to be very strong at whatever powers she has. She discovers that she actually has powers from a father she never met, but she was told she didn't. So there's lots of secrets around, and then she's falling for 4 princes at the school. So it's really good. I had a lot of fun reading the first book. I would love to read the next 2 books. We have The Last Aether and The Queen of Quintessence. This one just came out and I'm just really excited to read these. They're so fun. They're short. They're on KU, which is how I read the first one because I was reading it while working out, so I needed to have it on my iPad, but very excited to read these. I do really need to read Mixed Signals by BK Boris, and I'm actually going to have her on my channel on Friday, January 6th. I believe at 8 p.m. EST, we are going to be doing an interview on my channel, and I cannot wait. This one is the last book I have to read by her. I loved Love Light Farms, and I loved In the Weeds, so Mixed Signals is her last one. People have told me I'm going to love it, which I really hope I do. It's small town, and it says he is a bashful man and she is a bakery owner. So I'm very excited to read this one. Hopefully I enjoy it. It's just, I've loved every book in the series so far, so I think I'm gonna love this one, and I can't wait to chat with the author. And I'm having Christy from Christy Reads a Lot join. And then the last book I want to read so far is gonna be Belladonna. This one is a fantasy romance. Like I said, I'm in a huge fantasy romance reading mood. They typically take me a while to read, but this one is YA, so it's really not that long. It's 400 pages. So I just know she was orphaned, and she's been raised by a string of guardians who are more interested in her wealth than her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. So her remaining relatives are this eccentric family that lives at Thorn Grove. So the patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties. It sounds like a little messy. The mother's spirit returns saying she was poisoned, so the heroine has to help them figure out who did it. I don't know, but I've had a lot of friends read this and love it, so I'm very excited to get to it as well. And then I do have some stuff on my Kindle and on my library apps that I would love to get to, especially on audio, so it's been a long time. But I do have the rest of the 4 Psycho series on audio now. Before, I think they didn't have book 3, so I'd been like dragging my feet to physically read book 3, but my library finally got it, so I did download that. I have 2 Kingdoms and 1 Apocalypse left. This is a Why Choose ghost romance. Books 1 and 2 are so fun, and these are really short audiobooks, so I can't wait to read that. I do have Face-Offs and Cheap Shots by Eden Finley and Saxon James. I read the first book of the series and I really liked it. So this one has the team captain, and I think it's a player. Like, I think it's another player on the team that they have a relationship with. So this says that he's hated TJ Beckett since he was a freshman. Oh, I guess they're running against each other to be captain, and they have to go through a bunch of challenges in order to get the captain spot. That sounds so good. I loved Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed, and I love it when the relationship is between two players, especially if they play on the same team. So very excited for this one. I know Books with Samantha is a huge fan of the series. I also have Heartless Duke by Scarlett Scott. This is book 2 in the series The League of Dukes. I really liked Nobody's Duke, and so this one says he hunts anarchists and murderers by day, and by night he rules over the London's darkest, most depraved souls. So she is a trusted member of the underground organization to gain Irish independence, and she's supposed to look like a respectable young woman by day. So they end up running into each other and having some dangerous situations they're involved in. I'm very excited. I'm excited to read more from Scarlett Scott, especially because I really like the first book. I do have Shipwrecked by Olivia Dade on audio. I don't know if I'm going to get to this one. I haven't seen any reviews really about it, and I didn't love the second book of the series, so I've been very hesitant to pick it up, but I might. Let me know if you've read this and liked it, and we'll see if I end up picking that up. I do also have Cold Hearted Rake by Lisa Kleypas. I cannot believe I have not read the series yet. This one is the first book in the Ravenel series, I believe, and I've only read the last like 3 or 4 of that. I know some people don't love this one, and they love Marrying Winterborn and another one I think that I haven't read, but he's a scoundrel. He inherited the earldom, so the late Earl's 3 sisters are still occupying the house with Kathleen, a beautiful young widow who I guess is going to be the heroine, so we'll see if I end up reading that as well. Then let's go ahead and go to my Kindle and see what I have out on KU, because I also want to make sure I keep on reading that. I did read a good amount this year, which made me really excited. Oh, I do have Bittersweet Memories. This one I saw Cheyenne read. I have no idea what it's about, but I downloaded it because she did, and she was raving about it. So hopefully I will like that one. I also have The Woodsman by Dr. Rebecca Sharp, which I think is a snowed in kind of Christmas romance, but I really want to read it. Someone had messaged me saying Dr. Rebecca Sharp has really good romantic suspense books, so I would love to read this. My friend Tabitha over on Instagram had read this and she said she loved it, so I immediately downloaded it from KU. I also have Seeing You Home by Ava Hunter. This one I think is a small town romance. I know this author is going to be at Denver, the signing that I'm going to in March. I think one of them is a rock star, and I don't remember the tropes in here. So it's been 9 months since he lost his wife, and he is a country star and he wants to give up everything, and he learns his wife is actually alive and realizes that she has amnesia and doesn't remember who she is. So I couldn't remember if this had amnesia in it. I think there might be a little bit of romantic suspense because it says that it has kidnapping in here, so I don't know what that means, but this is a full-length second chance country romance with no cliffhanger, no cheating, and an HEA. So this sounds really good. I had saw this author on the list going to Book Bonanza, and I really wanted to read it. I also have The Badge by Lena Hendricks. I saw Caitlin from the Love Librarian talk about this, and my friend Tabitha too. This one is, I believe, one of them works for the government and one of them has to like hide out under witness like protection, and they end up having to stay at this like ranch together, I think, and end up falling in love. I don't remember if the person's actually criminal or is like on the run from someone. So it sounded good though. I do have a paperback that I really love to read, but those are the books that I have that are really standing out to me on KU that I have out that I cannot wait to read. But that's all that I want to read in January. So let me know down below what you're excited to read this month and what you're excited for me to read, what I should start with. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.